welcome to this week's edition of the Side Splitters. My name is Lyle.
I don't believe in charities.
No, he doesn't. It's true, actually. But our goal tonight is to, in fact, leave you in stitches. You can't get me anymore, Andy.
I thought I would. I thought I would get you with that one at the very least.
Now, I'm ungettable from now on.
You just expect it. Yeah, I become too predictable. Damn it.
You know,
When did this happen?
sometime in 2017, I can assure you that, because it's 2018 now. New things are happening. New things all over the place. For starters, 3 weeks in a row, ladies and gentlemen. We have recorded 3 weeks in a row.
I mean, sure, it was a little hard to get that during, the October, November, December months, but that's because there's a major holiday in every single one of those months. What do you want from me?
Well, there's a major holiday in January.
Yeah,
And we still managed to get 3 weeks in a row.
because that holiday happened at the beginning of the week.
Point
We
of the matter
recorded in
is,
the middle.
it's something you just pat yourself on the back about, Andy. Don't be so negative towards it.
I'm not as flexible as I used to be, but
That's
there
good.
we go.
There you go.
That's the
There
good
it
stuff
is.
right there.
Of course it is. You're a weird guy, Andy.
I mean, do what I can.
Anyway.
Not as weird as the world. I'll tell you something.
Well, you know, that would be such a... Where is this segue opportunity? Literally every other episode.
I figured the best point to having it now is the irony.
So, typically right now, I'd be like, you know what, Andy? Let's see what is weird with the world. Let's go to Clickbait News. But we're on the third week of 2018, ladies and gentlemen. That's yesterday's news, okay? Not saying that we're getting rid of Clickbait News, just this was a slow news week for Clickbait News. And instead of punishing you, fine folks, with, a good 15 to 20 minutes of nonsense that neither one of us wanted to go through, because they were bad stories. I couldn't find anything good. Like one or two maybe okay stories that hopefully Andy could make funny, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know. I had nothing this week, so we're gonna do it old school style. We're gonna do a couple talking points. There's kind of a this week in gaming history, kind of sort of. But aside from that, we're just going to we're gonna wing it.
I mean, I'm all for winging it. That's what I do for the most part.
Andy is like the master winger.
Better than being a debater?
Hey, man. You're married now. You don't have to be a master debater anymore.
Yeah, but old habits die hard.
Okay. But since, you are married now, surely you had a decent Christmas. That's right. It's January and we're still talking about Christmas. Now look, I don't like Christmas at all. But I do realize that there takes some time for Christmas presents to be gotten to. Now, both of us being married men, me and Andy, it's a fair assumption to say we both got Christmas gifts from our significant others. I know for a fact I did, and I'm fairly certain Andy did, because he's all giddy to tell us about it. So, being how it's a couple weeks afterwards, I'm sure we have gotten to all, if not most, of the Christmas gifts that we have received, and I think we, can talk about them. So, what did you get for Christmas this year, Andy?
All right, so here's the thing. What I want you to do is I want you to get comfortable in your chair.
Okay.
I want you to grab your favorite drink.
Oh, I already have it.
All right. And I need you to relax
It's
because
coffee, by the way. It's
I
always
have
coffee.
well, it always is, yeah. I have a hell of a story to tell you. So I want you to get as comfortable as possible. You ready?
And I'm drinking coffee out of my Morty Head coffee mug, which was a Christmas gift. It's a Morty Head from Rick and Morty. It's a coffee mug, though. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Nice. All right. So my lovely wife got me nothing.
Why? Why would you let me start with this segment? Why would you tell me ahead of time? Yeah, we can do that loud. That sounds like a good talking point. And then you're just like, yeah, she got me nothing.
Nah, I did get presents though. But I thought that was a funny opener. No, actually, man,
Hate
my
you.
No, my mom got me it's because she heard me raving about it so much about you having a oilless air fryer that she had to get one for me.
Yes.
So the lovely present package that I got from her was an air fryer, which looks like a big black egg for the most part, and it's like a I don't know, I want to say it's like a pre-Civil War Humpty Dumpty. It's what it reminds me of. Anyway, so I got that, and then I got a collection of different hot sauces, like all sorts of different flavors. Because if I'm gonna make wings in it, I need to have my different hot sauces.
Assuming you're making wings in it.
I did. Actually, I finally used the darn thing earlier this week. Yesterday, as a matter of fact. First thing I did is I had French fries. I had an opened bag of seasoned French fries in the freezer for months, to the point that it was like somebody took a snowball and poked fries into it, because it was just a ball of ice that had the occasional French fry sticking out. That's how long it's been in the freezer.
Were they freezer burned?
They might have been. I don't know. Because honestly, I just put the lump into the air fryer.
A lump.
And I let it go. It was the maiden voyage of it. It's like, all right, let's see how good this thing is. So stuck it in there, put it on the recommended time and everything like that. And then, went to town. By the time it was done, man, they were so crispy. There was not a trace of the inside of your freezer taste.
That's good.
Right? I was like, oh, yeah, these are probably going to be no good, but I just want to see what it does. And it performs genie magic. I am convinced.
I told you, man. Those things are great.
And then when I was done with the fries, I put the wings in it. The sauces I had were a chipotle chocolate sauce for a bunch. And then the second round was a brown sugar bourbon barbecue sauce. And then finished off with a lemon pepper dry rub.
Wow. Sounds fantastic.
Really good. Oh my God, was it good. And I had to laugh because when we were cleaning up, the stuff from dinner, my wife tells me, she's like, should we put it back in the box? I'm like, oh no, it's earned its place on the counter. I'm going to use this thing again.
Nice. I have 3 at the moment, so I can't just leave one out on a counter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have the one that can make an elephant leg in it or something like that.
Yes. It is, I think, 15 or 16 quarts. I can actually make a decent sized chicken, whole chicken in it.
Cannot even imagine.
I mean, you could probably be in there. You could probably go for Cornish game hen or something.
Yeah, because we did get one. We ended up. What did we end up doing? We meant to put it in the pressure cooker because we got one of those for our wedding and we never used it yet. I've never used a pressure cooker. The only thing I know is that 4 out of 5 jihadis agree that it's a great brand. So I guess they can't be wrong. But I'm not really much of a chef with it.
All right. I've never used a pressure cooker before. But yeah, so with the air fryers I have, one of them's actually going to a friend because I have the first one I got, that one's going to a friend. And then I liked that one so much that I wanted a much bigger one. And I got the much bigger one, the 15 quart size one. But it didn't make things quite the same. It was more of an oven thing, much more than it was a fryer thing. So I decided to, keep the old one around. And then I found out that the old one, the same make and model, came in a double the size of the original one I had. So I was like, I'm just going to get that and have that for wings because that's pretty much what it was for, let's be honest. I just like making chicken wings. Thing makes the best chicken wings you will ever taste, bar none. So, if I'm hosting Sunday Night Football or any kind of event really, 20 wings is only going to feed me, and the smaller one made 12 at a time. So you know, I'm frying wings like all day to accommodate people. It just wasn't working.
No, and I sympathize with that because I only made we didn't have a whole lot of wings to make. I think it was only like 20 wings, so we just broke it down to like, all right, you know, this section is for this sauce, this section is for this sauce, and so on. So we're like, yeah, let's try to get a variety of things, see how well it does. And the thing was so damn easy to clean up when I was done too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't even matter. Like it sat for a bit to cool down and everything like that, and then you look at it and go, oh man, that looks gross. How am I gonna? I'm gonna have to scrub the shit out of this thing. Nope. Nope, just like 2 swipes with a sponge and it was done. I'm like, this is insane.
It legitimately does look gross though, because like it takes all the fat from the chicken and everything. It just kind of like congeals at the bottom of it.
Yeah, and it just wipes away.
Yeah.
It doesn't try to hold on for dear life or nothing. It's
No.
just like, you know, oh, what's that, water? Well, guess it's my time to go. Like, oh my god. Thank you, disgusting chicken grease.
So that sounds exciting. I got, oddly enough, a bunch of kitchen stuff as well. My prized possession at the moment, because I actually haven't gotten to it all yet. One that I haven't gotten to is the cast iron skillet. And
Okay.
I don't mind admitting that because I still have to season it, and that's going to take a bit. And I want to, you know, oil it down and everything. I forget what they call that, but there's a process where you like put oil on it and bake it for a while, so
Yeah.
it gets its non-stick coating to it kind of thing.
Mhm.
But anyway, so yeah, I still have to do all that to it and haven't gotten around to doing that yet. Haven't really had a need for it yet neither. But one thing that I really do enjoy so far, I got an induction top portable cooker. Well, portable induction top thing.
Okay.
Burner? I don't know. Anyway,
What does it do?
it's like a portable stove.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
is it big enough for at least a frying pan?
Yeah. So it's okay. So basically, in our apartment, me and my wife's apartment, the stove and oven setup is really piss poor. I mean, the stovetop itself, it has 4 burners, but you can only fit like one good pan and maybe like something for a small thing of sauce on the side or something, and that's it. Like if you have one decent size like skillet or like what do they call them? I can't think of the name, but like a pasta pot, like a big pot or like a skillet or something like that on this thing, you're not fitting both of those, first of all. So to make pasta, to like take a skillet to like fry up the ground beef and the aromatics and all that first, and then have, you know, another pot to boil pasta, and even using the same skillet that you fried everything in to put your main sauce in as well, that's not even possible because you're trying to use a skillet and a pot at the same time. I'm not sure how well I am doing with the description here, but basically my stove is incredibly tiny. My oven's not only tiny, but the thermometer's off. So like I'll set it for 300 and it'll go to like 350. So I'll go, okay, I get your game. I want 400, so I'll set up to 350. No, it's at 425 now.
Wow.
Yeah, it makes no sense. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Not to mention it doesn't hold that temperature. So if I have a thermostat in there. So if I see it's at 400, I'm like, cool, that's where I want it. Let me put my food in there for, 20 minutes or whatever. By the time I take it out, it'll be at like 375, 425. It'll be wherever it wants pretty much. So there's like really no rhyme or reason to it. So I try to avoid using that. Hence all the air fryers.
Gotcha.
But the induction top thing, that's cool because it kind of gives me like a second area to cook stuff on like a stovetop kind of thing. Plus, it's induction, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with how that works, but basically you take a magnetic pan.
Is that when you go into a Hall of Fame or
Hall of Frame. No, it's not when you go into a Hall of Frame.
Hall of Fame?
You said
Right.
frame. Anyway.
Why don't you hold me to my words?
No, it's not that, even as clever as your joke could have been, but failed miserably. It's like it heats it up with electricity, I think, like electromagnetism or something like that. So you take a magnetic pot and put it on like a cast iron skillet or like stainless steel, whatever. Basically,
Or an
not,
bison.
right. Basically, not like a red copper pan, which I have. That doesn't work on there. So that's why I needed the cast iron skillet. But
Mm-hmm.
Stainless steel and all that works too. So I made a few things on there already, and my God, this thing heats up cookware so fast. I mean, water. I got water to boil in like maybe 5 minutes tops. Like a big pot of water, just instantly boiling, pretty much. It was
Wow.
fascinating. This thing heats up quick. And what's interesting about it is it heats up the cookware very, very fast. And when you shut it off, the cookware just cools down. Like, I wouldn't recommend touching it just for safety reasons, but so I'm browning up some ground beef in it at one point, and you can hear the sizzle when it's cooking. And then I shut it off so I can go drain the grease. And as soon as I shut it off, the sizzle just immediately halted. There was no more sizzle. And I was like, oh, is there no heat anymore? Like, let me turn it back on. Off. That is fascinating. It really works well. So I'm pretty excited with that. Plus I got like all kind of other kitchen stuff, like a really good chef's knife, new cutting board. I do all the cooking, so it's exciting for me. All right.
Oh no, I completely sympathize.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not going to talk bad about my wife, so let's just move on. So that's what I got for Christmas. That's exciting.
Yeah, the only other thing that I got that I can't really make a whole lot of use out of is a PlayStation 2. Like, my brother got me a really nice, like, mid-condition model PlayStation 2, and I packed all my games away in storage when my wife moved in. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll play with that later.
Yeah, so see, ladies and gentlemen, that is when I took, advice from a friend. I got married and went, man, well, we're already living together, but it doesn't matter. But for the sake of argument, now I have to pack away all my games in storage because I got married, and surely my wife's not going to want to deal with all these video games. I know what I'll do. I'll get a PC because everything's digital on there, and I don't have to worry about storage. Suck it, console noob.
I tell you what, though, there's nothing quite like opening an old CD case for a PlayStation 2 game and just smelling that disc.
I still do that to this day. I'm not kidding. So if I get like you said, a CD case of anything, whether it's a plastic one for like an old PS2 game or Xbox game, or even Xbox 360 game, or like an audio CD or something like that, something about the smell of like that freshly cracked plastic.
Yeah.
Oh man, it does something for me. I love that smell. Nothing too crazy. Mind your manners here. This is a family program. But
is it?
Oh, I have family that listens.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
Actually, the family member I have that listens, Irina, she actually is the one that introduced me to the idea of smelling CDs, or specifically the booklets that come in CDs. She goes nuts over it too. It's funny.
That's so weird. I never knew that.
Yeah. Anyway, so to stay on topic with the whole video game thing, again, this is for the most part unscripted, ladies and gentlemen, so enjoy. As some of you know, last week I think we made mention of it, the Awesome Games Done Quick Marathon was happening, and, it came and went, and it was very successful. Let me just try to pull up some quick numbers here because I'm unprepared.
Let me throw some numbers at you. 82, 15, 7, 25.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Andy, for doing that. So, yeah, what other numbers you got, Andy?
74, 65, 22.
What is this?
Random numbers.
I know what that is. Calm yourself. Here we are. Okay, so I have a donation total for what AGDQ actually raised. Andy, keep to yourself when I announce this. Shut up.
Okay.
Yeah, so AGDQ, Awesome Games Done Quick, they put all money they receive towards the charity Prevent Cancer Foundation. So in total, they have actually raised in a week $2,294,464.86. So pretty much $2.3 million, which is pretty darn impressive.
Yep.
Andy hates charities. That's all we're going to say about it. We're not going to say anything else. Andy is not a fan of charities. And we are moving on. Oh, that is funny. The highest donation actually was $108,000. $108,092.32.
Did they really have to include the 32 cents?
It was probably like someone that was doing a marathon of their own. Like a lot of companies will kind of partner with the whole event. Like the Yeti is a t-shirt company, and they will make specific t-shirts for this event that you can buy. And like I think it's like 80% of the proceeds go towards one massive donation at the end of the marathon.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, if that wasn't their donation, I actually have their donation right here. It was $13,541.90.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of people donated. This is actually, if I'm not mistaken, this is the highest donation total they have ever gotten for an AGDQ. So that's kind of cool. They broke records. So
nice.
You know, that's certainly a week in gaming history. This is certainly new things for the history of gaming.
I mean, other than this is the 0th anniversary of Nintendo's Cardboard Classic.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So for those that don't know, probably don't care, but we're going to tell you anyway. Nintendo came out with a thing. I cannot remember the name of it for the life of me. What's it called again?
Nintendo Labo.
Right, Nintendo Labo. Basically, it is... You know what? I've done enough with AGQ. Why don't you explain what it is?
Alright, so Nintendo Labo is pretty ingenious on Nintendo's part. Mm-hmm. It's a peripheral games that you can use for your Nintendo Switch that you plug the Joy-Cons into these it's almost like a model kit. It's like a cardboard model kit, and you plug the Joy-Cons of the Switch or the screen itself into parts of the cardboard kit, and it does different things depending on what it is. Like, you can have a fishing rod that you make out of cardboard, and it actually interacts and plays a fishing game on the Switch. You can have like this little backpack with these like boxing gloves on it, and you get to drive around as a guy in a giant mech suit. There's a whole bunch of different like possibilities that they have for it, and they're like, the sky is the limit. You just use your imagination, and you can play with it. Like, pretend becomes real, or at least virtual pretend. Physical pretend becomes virtual pretend, which becomes real for me.
In other words, Nintendo made it cool to play with a box again.
Yeah, right? Like, you can actually legitimately have a box fort again, because you can battle other people's box forts.
Yeah, it's true. Fortnite confirmed for Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool, and I think we pretty much covered all we need to cover for that.
That's fair.
Yeah, since this isn't a gaming podcast, as you would call it.
I mean, it isn't, but that's the thing I can talk about all day long.
Yeah, same. But yeah, it's certainly pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to more from that. This is the first we're hearing of it today. We actually just got a reveal trailer for it, like right before we started this. So, but anyway, other than all that, the only last bit of video game news I have kind of blends into the next topic. I am going to be involved in a big gaming tournament. Oh, I shouldn't say big. It's a gaming tournament. I got invited to it, actually. I was in a couple of tournaments for this game called Mutant Football League. It's exactly what it sounds. It's a football game, American football, that is played with mutants and monsters and skeletons, orcs and superhumans and robots. Yeah, oh my, she's scared about it. So, so it's has all kind of parody team names like the New York Tyrants instead of the New York Giants, and the Malice Hellboys instead of the Dallas Cowboys, and the nuked London Patriots instead of the New England Patriots. Anyway, or Hatriots rather. Anyway, you get the idea. The point of the matter is, it's a fun game, and it's voiced by the commentating is done by Tim Kitzrow, who has also done the likes of NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, and lots of other Midway arcade sport games like that. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, I was in tournaments for this game before two to be exact. One, I won. The second one, I came in second place. Literally made it to the finals and lost to a good player. I think the game might have went a little different if the internet connection was a little more stable, but it's something they needed to work on at the time. The game is getting a full release to consoles and everything in literally, well, a day after this will be released. It'll be this Friday, the 19th of January. So to kind of live up to the hype of the game and to advertise it a bit, the company that made it is putting together a big tournament. It's an invitational tournament where they're taking the quote-unquote best of the best players of the game, inviting them to the tournament, and we're going to have one big tournament of champions, if you will. And I was the first one invited because I am the best in the world at this game, as you know.
As I very well know, yes.
And then they're going to have a miniature tournament prior to this to get like one or two last people in there as like a qualifying round or something like that. But anyway, I'm already in it, so I don't have to worry about that. That is going to be, the big tournament is going to be the day before Super Bowl, February 3rd. And for those interested, stay tuned. I'll tell people how they can watch it because it is going to be live streamed on Twitch, possibly even YouTube if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be
nice.
cool. Yeah, it's going to be live commentated by the actual commentator Tim Kithrow, who did this game and the other ones that I mentioned prior. So it's going to be cool. I'll be able to chat with him a bit. Who I always liked his work. I won't fanboy out too much because Andy disapproves.
Absolutely.
But it's also going to be commentated by like the developers of the game and everything. Those are cool guys. I've actually talked to them before. I've actually beaten them in this game before. I've actually beaten the head developer of the game on stream in a tournament before.
See, that blows my mind too. Like, how did you even pull that off?
Andy, do you have any idea what the term "best in the world" means?
Like this world, or
I'm pretty good at this game, dude. Like, I'm just putting it out there. I don't typically like to toot my own horn, but well, I do. But I'm going to do it again. I'm pretty good at this game.
Yeah, sadly, the only games that I find myself naturally good at are ones that people don't play.
Check this out, right? So when this is how you know you're good at a game, because the first tournament we had, I won, like I said, and the team I was, no one else picked aside from me in that tournament. The next tournament, that team was picked so often that the finals was me against another guy as a mirror match of the same team. Because it just became meta. So when you are the start of a meta, that's how you know you're good at a video game.
Gotcha. I'll keep that in mind.
Anyway, let's move on to football talk. So, to talk real Patriots, we have winners and losers of the round 2 playoffs. We split 50-50.
Did we?
Yeah, man. So the first game was Falcons and Eagles. I picked the Falcons, Andy picked the Eagles. As I'm sure anybody locally listening to this podcast knows, the Eagles, in fact, won that game.
Yeah.
I don't know how to this day, but whatever. So that's a win for Andy. And then there was the Titans and Patriots, which I hated to see, but the old Tennessee Titans, they didn't exactly make it. The Patriots dominated them. It was a bad game. I feel bad for the guys down south. But anyway. Then they had the Jaguars and Steelers. Oh, by the way, I picked the Titans. Andy picked the Patriots on the last one. So that's 2 wins for Andy. Jaguars and Steelers. I picked Jaguars. Andy picked the Steelers. Jaguars actually pulled it off. And then the Vikings and the Saints. What a finish. I picked the Vikings. Andy picked the Saints. You know, at the end of this game, I thought for sure you were taking the playoffs away from me. And I was just like, how can this be? This is actual... You know, the teams are skilled. There's no real randomness involved. There's a little bit, but, I mean, for the most part, you know, what teams are going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So for Andy, for you to be able to pick more wins than I could, it doesn't make sense. You know, I mean, it already doesn't make sense, but now it really doesn't make sense. And the Vikings were losing to the Saints. and there was like 14 seconds left, and I won't get too I won't be too dramatized here. Is that right?
Dramatized?
Dramatic. Thank you. I
Yeah.
won't be too dramatic in this instance. God, what is wrong with me today? And
No
you
idea.
people wanted me to find news stories? I won't be too dramatic with it, but basically, the last like 15 seconds of the game, the Vikings scored a touchdown. Like literally one play left in the game. The only thing the guy on the Saints had to do was tackle this guy. That's it. That's the only thing he had to do. He tackles this guy, the game's over. Couldn't do it. Guy runs it like 60 yards for a touchdown.
That's insane.
They win the game. Oh my god, dude! Like I was ready to shut it off. I'm like, oh, this is over. I don't even want to watch this anymore. Like this game is completely done with. There's no chance. I mean, there's like a 2% chance anything could happen. It would be some sort of weird freak miracle that no one will ever forget. Sure enough, that's what happened. So with that, I stay with my 2 wins to your 2 wins because the Vikings pulled it out. The downside to that, the Saints were your Super Bowl pick. So, that means you need a new one. Now, for those keeping track, I still hold the Vikings against the Jaguars as my Super Bowl prediction. They are both still in the playoffs. Feels good, man. Feels good. Still saying the Vikings are going to win. So, Andy, you have the Patriots and the Saints. Now that the Saints aren't in there anymore, you can obviously make changes, which I'm allowing you to do with both sides if you want.
No, I'm going to keep the Patriots.
Okay, before we get into that, let's go ahead and go right into the next games. Okay?
Okay.
So, we have week 3. It's going to be the Vikings versus the Eagles. Week 3, round 3 of the playoffs. Vikings and Eagles. Who do you got? I'm going Vikings, obviously. My picks are already done, but go ahead. I got Vikings.
They're visiting the Eagles?
Yes.
You know,
Now,
here's the problem.
Before you go into this, just know whoever you pick to win this game is going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, stranger things have happened.
Don't you say it, Andy. Don't you say it.
I mean, here's the thing. Vikings, yeah, they're very, very aggressive group of people, especially when to other predatory animals, and that much is certainly true. They've skinned their fair share of bears, bears, jaguars, whatever the hell a brown is, and come out on top. But the Eagles still have the aerial advantage, and now they're going into their nesting territory. That's something you don't kind of want to mess with. If it was the other way around, I'd say sure, but no. I think they're going to bite off a little more than they can chew from these beaked monstrosities, especially with this particular breed of eagle. My God. I am going to say that the Eagles are going to win this one, and it's going to be the Eagles and Pats at the Super Bowl.
Whoa! just whoa, man. Oh, God. You're crazy. You're absolutely crazy.
I know.
Next up, obviously, being the Jaguars and the Patriots. I got the Jaguars. Sounds like you're picking the Patriots on this one.
Mm-hmm. Listen, the Jaguars might have been the ultimate predator of the mountains, but that was before it was settled by Patriots. They're the ones that actually kind of shooed them out of the mountains forcibly in some areas. And the Jaguars kind of have a last-ditch effort to just take it to the Patriots' hometown, but to be honest with you, no, they got that shit on lock. Nature moves for Patriots, so I'm going to say the Patriots are going to win that one.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my last question. Of the Patriots and Eagles in the Super Bowl, who's winning that game? I'm going to ask you again next week when it's the Jaguars and Vikings, but we'll ask now. Who's going to win if it is the Patriots and Eagles?
I want to remind you of something.
Okay.
Because I know that we never cover this subject material on this podcast, and I'm going to go over it extremely briefly to the point where it is a flittering glance into my insanity.
Don't you say it, Andy!
We elected Donald Trump as president.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa!
Hold on a second. Stranger things have indeed happened. I'm going to say it's probably going to be the first Super Bowl victory for the Eagles.
Now, I'm just going to put this out there. That does not mean that you have any opinion towards nor against President Trump, correct?
I was just stating a fact.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Yep, just stating a fact.
We keep this as anti-political as possible. You started going over some lines. I had to make sure that, I went behind you with the brush and painted a new line. No, we didn't. See, here's the new line, guys.
just a glimpse into my insanity. But yeah, I mean, 2018 is a weird year. It's shaping up to be a weird year, and what a hell of a way to have started if we had the Eagles have their first Super Bowl win.
Well, I'll tell you this much, Andy. You live awfully close to Philadelphia, as do I.
Yeah.
You know how these fans are.
I know.
Other people think they know how they are. They have not seen. Talking about you guys, Countdown to Geek Town, like, anyone that's listening to this podcast outside of New Jersey or the tri-state area of Philly, or Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, like, you have to be here to experience exactly how Eagles fans can get. If they win this Super Bowl, if they get there and they win this Super Bowl, there's going to be trash from that parade in New Jersey.
Honestly, I would not be surprised if parts of Philadelphia were set on fire during the celebration of that.
Oh my God, they're going to set them on fire and then they're going to put some sort of chemicals in it so it could burn green. Because they are that insane.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I remember when, the Phillies won the World Series back in, 2008?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah, yes it was. And that was, not to try to hold anything above one another here, but Phillies fans are not quite as... Phillies fans have never thrown snowballs at Santa Claus. Let's just say that. Eagles fans? Yeah, they did that. I remember a couple of years ago, we're talking like Donovan McNabb era, so 10 plus years ago. Try to wrap your head around that one. Donovan McNabb has not been on an Eagle team for at least 10 years.
Jeez.
We're old, Andy. So I remember around that era, they made it to the playoffs, and I think they played the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs. I think they beat them. But because someone decided to wear a Green Bay Packers jersey to school the next day in the Philadelphia area, on the way home, he walked home from school, and these other classmates of his, like schoolmates of his, same age and everything, so all teenagers, they jumped him and they stapled him to the side of a house because he had a Green Bay Packers jersey. They beat the Packers. And just because the kid was still a fan, they stapled him to the side of a house. Eagles fans are insane. Completely insane.
Yeah, they are.
This area is going to go bonkers if they win this Super Bowl. Yeah, it's not going to be good. But anyway, that's the football predictions. I'm still going Jaguars and Vikings. Vikings taking it all. Nothing is changing for me. I'm pretty impressed that I've made it this far.
I am too, actually. Good on you, buddy. Good on you.
You know, it was a little shaky last week with the Vikings and Saints, but when that happened, I'm just like, it's meant to be. These guys are going to win the Super Bowl. And if I can add one other thing, the Super Bowl is a predetermined area, so there's technically really no home field advantage ever. Sometimes the predetermined area is closer to one team's arena than the others, but it has never happened yet that I know of where a Super Bowl team was at home. Well, the Super Bowl this year is in Minnesota. So if the Vikings go, they'll be the first team ever to be a home field advantage Super Bowl team. Be interesting. I think there was one close with like the 49ers one year where they were like 30 miles away or something like that because there's so many California teams in the league. But yeah, so that'll be something that'd be cool. So we'll see. But anyway, that's it for the podcast here. We just have to name it. And I got one, and it's kind of funny because I've got nothing.
Really?
I've got nothing. I think it's a brilliant name. We just completely skated by on this episode.
I was gonna say, uh, no news is bad news.
Yeah, so you were going to say that, but then you heard I've got nothing, and you were like, how can I compete with that?
I mean, how can I compete with that? Um, yeah, because like I'm trying to think of something else that could match up, but yeah, I mean, it's sad how much of the name fodder comes from the clickbait news.
I mean, we can think of something. We can be like, oh, shaken not stirred, referring to the air fryer thing. Or I don't know. What was the word I was using? Commentation, or
Oh, right. Um,
what's the other word I couldn't think of? I have been at a loss for words. We could call it a loss for words. There's other names out there, but I don't think any of them really grasp the feel of this episode as much as I've Got Nothing does.
no, I think you're right. That's a pretty encapsulating title.
Yes. And that is a word I would not have been able to come up with this week. But that'll do it for the episode. Yeah, I don't remember how this goes. That'll do it for this week's edition of the Side Splitters, episode 64, titled I've Got Nothing. My name is Lyle.
And my name is, well, Andy still.
And we will see you next week. And that'll be 4 weeks strong. 4 weeks strong. Can we do it?
And growing.
I think we can. See you next week, folks.
Bye.